Thank you for joining us for the City of Alpharetta's January 20th, 2022 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. At this time, it is now 5:32 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. The next item on the agenda is roll call. We have 3 board members who will be sworn in this evening. There will be a quorum present after the board members are sworn in. At this time, we will begin the swearing-in ceremonies for our newly and reappointed board members. First up is Mike Fowler. If you please come forward to the podium, and our City Attorney, Michael Stacy, will read your oaths of office.
Fowler.
Right here.
Yep.
All right. If you go ahead and raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Mike Fowler,
I, Mike Fowler,
hereby accept the honor
hereby accept the honor
of serving as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of serving as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
and in so doing,
and in so doing,
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I shall faithfully perform the duties of board member,
that I shall faithfully perform the duties of board member,
that I will regularly attend meetings
that I will regularly attend meetings
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
that I will act and conduct business in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
that I will act and conduct business
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
in accordance with the city's ethics and conduct,
and that I shall support
and I will support
the charter and laws of the City of Alpharetta,
the charters and laws of the City of Alpharetta,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia,
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
You are so sworn.
Thank you.
So go ahead and sign this, and then you can sign it. Okay. Got to reset. Hold on.
Thank you, Board Member Fowler. You may now take your seat with the rest of the Board of Zoning Appeals. And then up next will be Lisa Schipple.
Well, we have a pen problem.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
All right. Raise your right hand. I, Lisa Schipple,
I, Lisa Schipple,
hereby accept the honor of serving
hereby accept the honor of serving
as a member of the Board of Zoning
as
Appeals
a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
and in so doing,
and in so doing,
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I shall faithfully perform
that I shall faithfully perform
the duties of board member,
the duties of board member,
that I will regularly attend meetings
that I'll regularly attend meetings
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
that I will act and conduct business
that I will act and conduct business
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
and that I shall support
and that I shall support
the charter and laws of the City of Alpharetta,
the charters and laws of the City of Alpharetta,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Georgia,
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
You are so sworn. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Schipple. You may now take your seat with the rest of the Board of Zoning Appeals. All right, and next up is Donna Murphy.
Raise your right hand. I, Donna Shaw Murphy,
I, Donna Shaw Murphy,
hereby accept the honor of serving
hereby accept the honor of serving
as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
the City of Alpharetta, Georgia,
and in so doing,
and in so doing,
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I shall faithfully perform the duties of board member,
that I shall faithfully perform the duties of board member,
that I will regularly attend meetings
that I will regularly attend meetings
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
and uphold the ideals of community and service,
that I will act and conduct business
that I will act and conduct business
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct,
that I shall support
that I shall support
the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta,
the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia,
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
You're so sworn. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you can take your seat on the dais.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the election of the chair and vice chair for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Do I have a nomination for a member to serve as the chair of the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Are you looking for nominations?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gerber, would you accept a nomination to chair again? I would, so made.
Okay. I have a nomination for Board Member Gerber to serve as chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for him to serve as the chair of the Board of Zoning Appeals. At this time, I'll now call for a vote. All those in favor of Board Member Gelber serving as chair of Board of Zoning Appeals, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all those opposed, raise your right hand. Motion approves unanimously. Board Member Gelber will now serve as chair of Board of Zoning Appeals. And next, we will have an election for vice chair of Board of Zoning Appeals. Do I have a nomination for a member to serve as vice chair?
Make a nomination, Mike Gorman? Gordy, I would nominate Mike Gordy.
Okay. I have a nomination for Board Member Gordy to serve as vice chair. Do I have a second? Okay. It has been moved and seconded for Board Member Gordy to serve as vice chair. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Board Member Gordy, raise your right hand. And all those opposed? Motion approves unanimously. Board Member Gordy will serve as vice chair. And at this time, you both now resume your chairs.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Can I get everybody received the minutes from the last meeting? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, motion's approved. Any items from board members? Okay, any items from staff? Okay, we've got 2 public hearings this evening. The first is V2130. It's 5090 Jonquilla Drive Pool Variance. It's a consideration of a variance to reduce the rear setback associated with a swimming pool on a residential lot from 20 feet to 12.4. The property is located at 5090 Jonquilla Drive and is legally described as being located in the land lot 1206, 2nd District, 2nd Section, Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Woodman?
Good evening, Chair and board members. The item before you, the applicant is Bella Reed Pools. They're requesting consideration of a variance to reduce a rear setback for a swimming pool from 20 feet to 12 feet. Have the location map on the overhead. The subject property is located at 5090 Jonquilla Drive. This is in the Westminster at Crabapple subdivision. In this particular case, the pool contractor mistakenly constructed the pool in the wrong configuration, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this was the original plan that was approved by the city for the pool's configuration, and basically what happened is when they went to go to pour the shell of the pool, this got flipped so that this area was placed over here. And so this is what was done. So in this particular case, this encroached further into that rear setback. So the applicant is before you asking for a variance to reduce that rear setback. As part of this request, there was one tree impacted. They are proposing replacement tree recompense for that tree that was impacted with 7 2-inch hardwood and evergreen trees, and those are the trees that you see in green here and on this plan. They're also proposing a new 5-foot wood privacy fence to tie in with the existing fence. So this is the existing fence. There's a photograph of the existing fence on the property. They would do a similar fence that would tie in with that fence. Application of the city's ordinance with regard to the rear setback would require that the pool, as currently been placed on this property, be demolished and reconstructed if the variance is not approved. We also noted that there is some hardship on this particular property. This property is on a cul-de-sac. It has an unusual shape, which required that the home be built further away from the road as opposed to other properties in the same neighborhood on the same street. We also noted that the applicant provided letters of no objection from the adjacent properties, so either side and to the rear, as well as from the Westminster at Crabapple HOA. So there's no opposition that has been received by the city for this request. And with that, the staff is recommending approval of the applicant's request subject to 2 conditions. Condition 1, swimming pool shall be permitted as depicted on the plans prepared by Bellary Pools, dated July 1st, 2021, with a 12-foot rear setback. Condition 2, property owner shall install trees and 5-foot privacy fence as depicted on the plans prepared by Bellary Luxury Pools, dated July 1st, 2021. And that concludes the report. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Michael, with the original pool and permit with flipped, did that have any impact as far as the setback was concerned, or was that totally within where it should have been?
Yeah, the original configuration met the building setback, so it did not require a variance. It was when it was flipped, this area right here that got placed over here encroached further into that setback. That's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Woodman. The applicant like to come forward? Good evening.
Good evening.
You can say your name, please?
Yes, my name is Edward Karam, and I'm the CEO of Bellary Luxury Pools. I appreciate your time this evening to allow me to answer any questions and answer any concerns you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
I would. How did this happen?
So the original design is actually what we submitted for with the variance, which was the pool is supposed to be the L shape is supposed to be into the variance. When our drafting department went to create the site plans and submit it, they realized that it was going into the setback, so they just automatically assumed the pool was supposed to be in reverse, because if I may I put the plan back on, you can see that the way the house is shaped, that L actually fits perfectly like a glove into this area right here of how the house is set up. So we didn't catch it when we submitted it to the city of Alpharetta, and it was submitted that way. It was approved. However, our construction plans are actually what the homeowner originally intended to do. So when our crew came out and dug the pool and did the plumbing and the rebar, did everything according to plan, and it wasn't until we called in the inspection for the basket when the city inspector realized the pool was actually constructed inside the setback line. So
Okay.
we redid everything, and asked the city to allow us to do that. We are a pretty large size pool contractor in town. We've got a little bit over 200 pools that we do on an annual basis, a little bit over 20 of them just in the city of Alpharetta. This is the first time that we've had an issue of that sort.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is this the first time we've seen you with such an incident?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, well, that's good.
And the last. We've put some, some safe measures and to ensure that this stuff does not happen again. So we've got 3 different sets of eyes that are now going to review every set of plans instead of just one.
Great. Any other questions from board?
I've got one. So just to clarify, the homeowners, did they ever see it as it was submitted or as it was approved with the L kind of going
No.
against the house? So they had never seen that
They
version?
never saw, what they saw was the original design, which is what we are, submitting for the variance right now. So, but when we submitted the plans, the homeowners don't actually review those plans or anything like that. They entrust us to do the plans accordingly, and we submitted them not knowing that they were backwards. So when they got approved, I was the one that actually performed the site visit or the pre-construction meeting with the inspector, and everything was according to plan. And then when the crew showed up to dig the pool, like I said, they showed up with another set of plans, which was based on the intended design from the homeowner.
Did the homeowner realize that the pool was flipped before the inspector?
No, because the
Pointed out.
homeowner thought that was what the homeowner saw was the design they actually wanted, which was the spa being on the back end of the property, which actually is encroaching into the setback line. That's why there were no red lights or any kind of flags that went up until the city inspector showed up and said, hey, you're actually not digging this pool according to the plan. Because our crew actually, the site plans or the plans that are submitting to the city are not actual construction plans that our crews follow. Okay, they have a set plan that actually shows them the dimensions away from the house, the depth, things like that, and those are things that are not on the site plans that are submitted to the cities or counties in general.
I have a question. So when you permitted initially for the pool, was it flipped and that was what was approved by the city?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So I see that.
You want to hit your red button, please? Thank you.
Do I hold it the whole time or
No, just,
Okay. So I see that there's some letters of like approval or okay from some neighbors. Do we know that the neighbors that are most directly affected by the pool, have they signed those letters?
Yes, ma'am. Every one of the letters that you received is actually every single one of the adjacent neighbors, as well as the ones that are on the back of the property.
Okay, I want to make sure the ones on the back of the property.
Every single one of the neighbors that's directly affected by this lot.
Okay, and then someone had mentioned something about extra trees being planted.
Correct. The tree that is located immediately behind the property line would be affected by the tree root zone. So we are proposing to plant several other trees, I think 7 of them, instead of that one that is impacted.
Okay, but the trees aren't being planted to buffer the neighbors that it's being affected. The trees are being put on the further end of the property, correct?
Correct. They're just set up there based on the recommendations from the arborist, just to replace the tree canopy that is being affected.
Okay.
The fence is what's actually creating the,
I understand. I think of the noise or the having a pool from 10 feet from my fence line now, and now there's even less of a buffer because the trees the root is going to be affected by us constructing this pool. So now I have a pool closer to my fence and I have no trees.
So typically, I can address that particular question. So the reason why we did not have, the arborist wouldn't allow for evergreen screening along the rear property line, as you can see, all these represent existing trees with the red circles around them. So the evergreens that would be planted in this location because of the existing tree canopy would not survive.
Okay.
So you would put them in there, and after 6 months to a year, they wouldn't survive because they're not getting the light necessary to grow. So the replacement trees for the impact to the one tree that this pool impacted were placed in this location. So typically, you're correct. In a situation like this, we may require or put a condition on a request where you would try to do some evergreen screening along this area. It just didn't make sense in this particular case because of the existing trees.
Okay. I'm just thinking, as long as the
No.
other homeowners are okay with it, that's fine by me. I would want the trees there.
Yeah. It's just,
On my side of the
arborist
fence.
looked at it and he said that, that would be normally where you would place them, but because of the existing trees,
Yep.
it just didn't make sense.
Great. Any other questions from board members? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. I recommend approval of V-21-30, 5090 Jonquilla Drive, pool setback variance, subject to staff recommendations, staff conditions.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor? Okay, motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay, next on the calendar is V-2128, 5070 North Somerset Lane fence variance. It's a consideration of a variance to increase the height of a privacy fence on a residential lot from 6 feet to 8 feet. The property is located at 5070 North Somerset Lane and is legally described as being located in land lot 1122, 2nd District, 2nd Section, Fulton County, Georgia. Good evening.
Good evening. So this item, as you mentioned, is a variance in height request. The home is already, or the fence is already constructed. And as you mentioned, the request specifically is to change in height from 6 feet to 8 feet for the enclosure of the fence for the property at 570 North Somerset Lane in the Somerset at Henderson Village subdivision. The request would approve an 8-foot privacy fence to remain on residential property. The fence has already been built. You can see it on the exhibit above. There is about a 20-foot frontage that is visible from the roadway on this side of the cul-de-sac, and there's another 20-foot frontage that's visible from the roadway on this side. The property is odd shaped, and the property holds a 2-story home, single-family development. The Unified Development Code specifies in section 2.3.6 fence and wall requirements. The height of fences and walls used shall not exceed 6 feet on residential property and 8 feet on non-residential property. The exhibit does show, once again, a gate next to the garage and the fence enclosing the backyard, which is relatively small with this odd-shaped land lot. Staff did review the requirements for a variance and found that due to the unusual shape with multiple frontages on North Somerset Lane, that was a extraordinary exceptional condition to the particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, or topography. And that, in addition, the applicant did have letters of support from its adjacent neighbors, as well as the HOA with no objections. Based on review of the variance criteria, staff is recommending approval of the variance request. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you. Questions from any board members?
I have a question. As far as the HOA, do I have to keep this? Okay. As far as the HOA guidelines, is this in line with that? In regards to the neighborhood, do you have to submit a plan for a fence when you install it, and that's approved by HOA?
The city doesn't enforce HOA requirements, so we're simply looking at this from the city regulation standpoint. The HOA did provide a letter of support saying that they're aware of the situation and are not opposed to the fence remaining.
So there's not currently a process in place in the neighborhood to submit something to the HOA for approval?
I am not familiar with that particular HOA and what their processes require.
Okay.
But the city does not typically review fences, or we do not require a permit for fences. But I believe in this case, our code enforcement folks were driving by and found that the fence was being installed at a height that was not per code, and so that's how we got to this point here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board? Okay, can I get a motion? I'm sorry, applicant? Is the applicant? Apologize.
Good evening. I'm Eva Gröner. I'm the owner of the house on 5070 North Somerset Lane. And yes, if you have questions, I can answer those, for example, with the HOA question. So when I moved into the house with my son, I wanted to set up a playground, and the fence was not high enough. And the HOA had actually recommended me to build a higher fence, but I didn't have the money at the time. So I waited for a few years, and there are higher fences around us in the neighborhood. And so when I had the money for it, I went back to the HOA and asked for approval for a higher fence, and I got the letter before I built the fence. And then last year, I learned this hard way that you also need the city approval. I come from Germany, so it's my first house, and not only here, but also in general. So I just didn't know. I didn't know.
It sounds like you did all the right things. There's just a conflict between what HOA approved and what the city, the guidelines for the city of Alpharetta, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And there are other 8-foot fences?
Yes.
Any other questions from board? Thank you. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Motion approved. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, motion to adjourn. Thank you. We're adjourned.